Yeah, I am curious though. Like, is there a reason we don't try to give ourselves long weekends?
No, not really. I think usually we're just here. It's like an hour, so usually it's like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I came home a day early from a ski trip.
I mean, yeah, and it's like in the future, if it's something like that, then yeah, we can definitely plan for that.
What up?
Let's have some fun.
Let's do it. Oh man.
Good?
Yeah. Shall we?
Let's do it. You good on everything? Wow. Well done.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Son of a Boy Dad podcast. Today is February 17th. We are here live from HQ.
Today we'll all be exposing our work wives.
Work wives are coming out today.
What's that?
You never heard of someone?
I don't know.
Oh, is that's I've seen Drewski, I think, do a sketch about that.
I've only ever seen Drewski do it.
I feel like I've seen people on social media being like, "This is my work, like my work wife." When your work husband acts up, it's actually almost always Puerto Ricans.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say The Office too. Yeah, Panama Jim.
But they wind up actually stooping. I think the premise of a work husband or work wife is just somebody that you flirt with, no strings attached at your office.
Yeah, I don't have any of those.
No, me neither. Everyone I ever flirt with at the office, I end up fucking.
I end up in long-term relationships with them.
I didn't know we weren't supposed to do that.
Well, there's not really HR. HR is more an opt-in, opt-out thing now.
I genuinely don't think there's a single other person in the office right now.
Pat and Joey are here.
Oh, really?
They're work wives.
There are work wives?
Yep.
We need some work husbands for real.
There was no one to open the door.
No.
For me either.
Yeah.
And I started knocking.
Yeah, I was knocking too.
Joey's little dog came, saw me, and started barking, which alerted Joey to come and open the door for me.
That's great.
If not for that dog, I would have had to go through the glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
But secret agent style.
Yeah.
Where you cut the circle.
Well, I would have covered my eyes and gone elbow. Tyrese in one of the Fast and Furious movies wrapped his hand in a shirt and did it. But I still think that you risk, breaking some of the smaller bones in your hand.
Or the drawback through the glass. You can rip up your...
Well, that's why he had a sweater covering it all.
True. Sweaters will do it.
I think you could still break stuff. I think it's more to prevent cuts.
Yeah, he just said that. That's what he said.
Well, I think it's more like to prevent cuts.
What about cuts, though?
Pat and Joey have been both killing me on tweets that get like 35 to 70 likes, and they're the funniest things I've ever read. They're just fucking destroying me. Joey said this weekend that adults who are obsessed with Bravo are basically the same level as Disney adults, which I thought was pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed it to some people in my life, and it made them very defensive.
Oh, I bet.
Well, aren't you super into Bravo?
I know, he read the fuck out of me. It was great. I mean, I thought it was a great roast. But then you show that to other people who really are obsessed with Bravo, and they're like, "No, we're not. It's completely different from Disney adults."
It must be nice to be obsessed with just a channel, though. Right? Because then you just throw the channel on, and it's well, anything is going to be good. Right? That would be nice.
Well, that was true as kids with Nickelodeon,
Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never really was a Disney Channel kid.
Oh, I was more Disney than Nickelodeon.
Same.
It's also possible that whatever basic cable shit we had did not have the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
I don't think we got that.
That was the one premium channel we had, which is gay.
Yeah, we had Disney, Channel 47.
Yeah, it was sick. I guess dudes
Nickelodeon was 48.
In the 90s with ESPN would make it their whole person.
35.
They just turn on 35 and just watch
I
Sports
would-
Center 5 times.
I would do that. Yeah, I would watch Sports Center.
And just hit someone with a booyah.
Yeah.
Booyah!
Yeah.
A non-ironic booyah was probably
or
pure.
a whoop.
Oh, speaking of booyah, hoorah,
Furman.
I just started watching the Black Hawk Down documentary on Netflix yesterday.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Looks
Whew.
good.
There's a documentary about
They
it?
just put it out on Netflix. Yeah,
Wait,
it's
so
a
it's based on
three-parter.
a true story?
Well, yeah, it's Mogadishu, 1993.
I thought that was a made-up place, like Narnia or Genovia.
Common misconception.
Really?
Mogadishu, yeah. Well, they made Black Hawk Down with Josh Hartnett many years ago,
Classic.
which was a good movie.
Long movie.
Well, yeah, but I remember it being good, and at least from what I can remember against this documentary, it seems like it was pretty true to form.
It's good. I rewatched it recently.
But what I don't remember is that it was all Army Rangers mixed in with Delta Force guys.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
And the Delta Force guys, the Rangers who thought that they were the king shit and walked around super cocky and said we're the most elite force, they would see the Delta Force guys and be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, those guys are
I wonder what
way
the
more
activities-
badass than we are.
Like, what are the activities that were the differentiators? Was
Well-
it like they trained harder and did more push-ups, or was it the viciousness with they took life?
Delta Force, I think, is a pretty secretive force whose primary objectives are hostage rescue and basically assassination.
Sick.
And they are selected from other special forces groups as having been vetted to be, I think, the tops of their, SEAL teams and their Green Berets and things like that. And the tryout for Delta Force, you only get to do it once. You can only try out once. And if you fail, you never get to
It's
do
like
it.
The Voice.
Yeah. Is that right?
I don't know. It's basically the same level of strenuousness as The Voice.
Yes. Yes.
You think you could have been a Delta Force?
No, I don't.
What about a Delta Medallion?
Very funny. Very funny.
You don't think you could have been one?
I know that I could not have.
Why?
Because I've spoken to someone who tried out,
Yeah.
who explained the actual, the final test,
Mm-hmm.
which was a cross-country movement, as he put it, where basically they drop you in the wilderness, you have a compass, and you have to, I think over the course of 36 hours or something like that, you have to traverse tens and tens and tens of miles of wilderness
Yeah.
and hit checkpoints along the route. And if you miss a single checkpoint, they alert you, you're done.
Damn.
And I don't really want to say too much more because I really don't want to fuck that guy over. But basically this dude,
They'll find him too,
yeah,
and they'll kill him.
he is a U.S. military, born and bred. That's all he's ever going to do. It's all he's ever dreamt of doing, and was tapped from a young age too.
How young?
I don't know. He's like military royalty.
So like 12?
I think he grew up knowing that, that he would, because he's like a Kincaid or a fucking,
Yeah, Kennedy or some shit.
like generals, that have come through the ages where their kids carried on the name.
I try to act like I could add something to that conversation. I don't know shit about generals. So there's generals who have it's in their family, like coaching, like
Nepo
Kyle
babies.
Shanahan and Mike Shanahan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't. I don't think your kid can rise to the rank of general if he doesn't hit the fucking
role.
marks.
Got
I
it.
think there's a pretty strong meritocracy at stake. Maybe you get preferred admission to West Point or Annapolis or something like that. I don't really know.
So did your boy pass?
No,
He didn't.
he got to the final checkpoint.
Oh,
I think
God.
2 of the 30 passed for that
Jesus.
year or something like that.
That's
Oh
gotta
my
suck.
God.
I mean, it's insane. It's truly the most. They say it makes the Navy SEAL shit look like
Yeah, they're
child's
in
play.
like a fucking sensory deprivation pool, linking arms, singing songs. It's fucking summer camp over at Navy SEAL School.
Yeah, they
Pussies.
do torture resistance. They
Yeah.
do stuff like that.
That sucks. It sucks to get to make it through like 35 hours and then find out that you didn't get it.
Especially if it was your life's ambition to become a member of Delta Force, and then you only get that one crack at it. And then you have to,
What does he go back to? Like accounting? Or do they like pop him into Green Berets?
They'll put him back into whatever elite special forces unit he came from, I'm sure. It's not the end of your military. I don't even think it's a dark mark on your resume in the military because it's so selective.
He probably killed the fuck out of someone.
Definitely.
And like revenge, he was probably so furious that the next mission he went on, he was mowing civilians down.
Well, that was what was interesting in this doc was that initially they're driving through Mogadishu and seeing in crowds of people that are firing on their Humvees because they're coming in to rescue the downed Black Hawk crews. Mm-hmm. And people are shooting the hell out of their Humvees and stuff. And they're trying to be selective because these bad guys are firing from crowds that have women and children. And initially they are trying they're holding their fire when they see that, but they're seeing women point out their positions and basically comply with, they're all against them. And then a few of their guys get killed and they go back out. And the guy's like, at this point, he was like, I didn't give a fuck. I was shooting everybody. They say stuff in this documentary where you're like, wow, that is an absolute admission to not adhering to the rules of engagement.
That's like most war documentaries, though. One of the dudes ends up revealing something that you're like, you probably weren't supposed to say that.
Yeah.
And he's
we were
like,
killing
sometimes
everyone.
85.
Yeah.
And we raped them.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude. Oh my God.
It's like that scene in Spotlight where they go to the priest's house and they're like, did you molest a kid? And he's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that scene where they go to the super old priest's house?
Kind of.
And they're like, did you molest all these boys? And he's like, well, yeah, but it was only because I was molested.
Right.
And they're like, oh, all right.
I'll be honest with you. That wasn't really a movie whose quotes stuck with me.
That scene is pretty crazy.
It sure is.
It's funny when you put it like that.
But
it wasn't funny. I just remember a darkness over me.
Yeah, and I remember being like, I'm never going to watch this again.
Really?
I get the message. Like 5 times. I know. See, that's what I figured. And I find that a little strange.
Fights told me he watches that movie like once a week. Seriously. He said that movie, Spotlight, Chernobyl, and Dope Sick are like his comfort.
Why would you go back to those?
All of those are 3 of the most depressing things I've ever seen.
All of those are one-time watches for me.
Yeah.
And not because they weren't spectacular.
Chernobyl's pretty good.
It is. That would be the only one of the 3 that I could rewatch.
I don't think I would rewatch Dope Sick, even though Dope Sick is super good.
It was the opioid one. Crisis.
Oh, God.
It was like the Painkillers Netflix show, but it was better.
It came out first.
Yeah.
And it was really good. It had the guy who played Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's in it.
What the fuck?
You're selling poison, Billy. That scene. Love that scene.
Another strange thing to quote.
You don't remember that part?
You guys know in Moonlight, remember that scene in Moonlight? When he's like, you're my son.
It's a pretty like
remember in Schindler's List when they just turn the showers on?
It's a pretty
my favorite part of Manchester by the Sea when he's picking him up at school. He's like, you're not my dad.
Manchester by the Sea is a great movie.
It is, but these aren't I watch like fucking
Manchester by the Sea is a rewatch for sure. I've seen that movie like 3 times, 4 times.
Strange.
Maybe I just like it because I feel like it's so realistic to Massachusetts.
True.
Like it's the only like Massachusetts movie that feels like it's actually in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I only watched that once. All the stuff that what was the one where the kid that you know a little bit?
He's in that.
Is he? Oh yeah.
He got nominated for that.
He's the kid.
Lucas Hedges.
Hedges, and he had another movie where he was like an addict or something like that.
Yeah.
It was so dark.
I think Julia Roberts was his mom.
It was his mom, yeah. And then he's like running away at the end or something. Wow, that's like I'll never rewatch that.
I can't remember that movie, but then also mid-90s, I thought he was really good in.
Yeah, he's awesome. And mid-90s is rewatchable. Bro, we need.
Crazy.
I wonder what.
Mid 90s is trash.
You don't have
that movie blows.
Really?
your like sort of takes on rewatchable movies are so bad that
Mid 90s, I barely made it through the first watch.
That's a good movie.
let alone a rewatch.
Jonah Hill's
I
directorial
think maybe
debut.
it's like
Yeah, I know. I
he-
remember
it's,
being
it's
pumped for it.
nostalgic to a time that he can't access.
Yeah.
I think DD. Have you watched DD? That's like the same type of movie that's nostalgic.
Yeah, you
to-
guys can definitely relate to that movie.
What?
Growing up in LA in the 90s, being a skateboarder with like an abusive older brother.
I think it's more like the VCRs and like the style. And
Do you
stuff.
need to be? Do movies need to be relatable in order to watch them multiple times? Because if that's true, then who molested you? What parts-
you guys just said that I couldn't get into mid 90s because I can't relate to that time.
Did you say that?
Yes,
I
Rowan
said-
just said that.
I was saying that there's like a nostalgia. I think one of the most attractive parts of that movie is the nostalgia part of it. And so it's like if you're not
Which
nostalgic,
part of it was nostalgic for you?
I think like the style and like the types of cars and like them going to like the
jeans.
malls that they went to, like how people dress and like the music that they're listening to.
Yeah.
True, yeah. I forgot about the famous mall scene.
They're skateboarding outside of a mall. Isn't that where they try to do the first jump where he like lands flat on his back?
No, the famous mall scene, of course.
Yeah, here we go. Here we
Wait,
go.
someone called you like an argue lord in like, and you really
So it
are an
begins.
argue lord.
On President's Day,
saying
no
that,
less.
but saying that mid 90s is more rewatchable than Manchester by the Sea or
Well, I just don't like dark movies to rewatch.
Spotlight.
I think it absolutely is.
But like that's like mid 90s isn't even in the same realm as
I'm
those
not saying
movies.
it's a better movie. We're talking about rewatchability, which to me is, old school, Wedding Crashers, Garden State. I've seen a dozen times. Movies like that are pleasant. Where the second, the third, the fourth watch is
Yeah, but I just like good
background.
movie. Like I've seen Oppenheimer like 5 times.
Yes, as have I.
But that's a dark movie.
It's
I
not
don't
as dark as Spotlight.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think it's more like epic, and
I mean,
I'm not
it's
just
about
trying to
like one of
flat,
the worst things that's ever happened in history.
but there's no fallout of like their side of it. Like
Like we're talking about like 80 kids in Boston versus like 600,000 people in Japan.
Wait a minute. Okay. I see what you mean. I got it now.
the argue lord strikes again.
First,
I'm just saying.
At first, I thought you were talking about Manchester by the Sea, and I was like, dude, I don't think 80 kids died in that movie. It was just his 3, right? When the log rolled out from the screen.
I mean,
And he's like, and I wanted more Coke. So I went to the store, and I must have left the screen open, and a log probably rolled out.
I think-
I don't understand what you're referencing.
It's when he's telling the story of how his fucking whole family burned to death.
oh yeah, yeah.
And he's
yeah.
telling it, and he has this unbelievable resignation, and then he walks out and he grabs the guy's gun, tries to kill himself, but doesn't switch the safety off, and then they tackle him.
Yeah, that's a good scene.
And it's like, dude, if you felt that then, why didn't you just try when you left the fucking police station?
Didn't have a gun.
Not hard to get.
Massachusetts, not easy.
Man of his means, janitor,
True,
plumber.
we could probably find one.
Yeah, you can find one.
Everyone he knows has a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
But they've all
He
probably
was
tried to
literally
kill
only
themselves.
friends with like fishermen.
Yeah, right.
I enjoy rewatching like a crime movie. Those I think are my most fun
Yeah,
movies
The
to
Town.
rewatch. Town's great to rewatch, or
Mhm.
like Godfather or something like that. Like
Mhm.
some kind of.
Spotlight.
I guess that was a crime. I guess most movies involve some kind of crime.
Investigative drama. Yeah, I love Spotlight, Dark Waters, and Aaron Brockovich.
Dark Waters is phenomenal. I just rewatched Dark
Nothing
Waters.
like that intrepid lawyer that takes on the chemical
I
company,
just rewatched that movie. It's
testing
phenomenal.
the waters as he hops over the fence, and
Yeah.
finding retribution for all the families whose children grew up with horns.
No, I get what
rewatched-
you guys are saying. You don't want to rewatch dark movies. I just think like I don't I kind of get what you're saying, but I think I have different. Like I would never rewatch like like I said I'd never rewatch Dope Sick. I'd never rewatch like what's that movie with Timothy Chalamet and Steve Carell?
Yeah, I mean, I never watched that.
Beautiful Boy. Like
I just
definitely
avoided
would
that
never
because
rewatch that.
I knew I didn't want to see that because of how
pretty good. It's a
I'm
good
sure
movie.
it's excellent. But
pretty
why
dark,
do I
though.
need to ruin my day?
Oh, doesn't necessarily ruin the day.
Have I ever told you Have I ever told you that
Yes, my lord.
there was a period? That's not even worth arguing about. What ruins a day?
I mean,
What is a day ruined?
It's a dark movie, but it's not like one of those. It's not like I close my laptop after watching it and I'm like, well, I guess I'll just go to bed now.
Right. Okay. I'll let you have that point.
That's usually when I throw on some NFL highlights.
A little palate cleanser.
Yeah,
I used to watch Wallace and Gromit as a
It's a good
child
one.
after a scary movie to help
it's a
me
good flicks.
soothe.
There's a
the
darkness
nerve.
about Wallace and
Sure.
Gromit that
Yeah, that's a little tough for you guys to handle. Not a rewatch.
definitely not.
Not a
There's
rewatch
something,
for Wallace and
something
Gromit.
morbid about Wallace and Gromit.
Well, the one with the
colors.
wrong trousers, where the chicken is the thief, the jewel thief. That one was pretty spooky at
Right.
times.
Dark.
You watched the new one?
Oh, the Were-Rabbit?
I don't know. It's on Netflix.
It's pretty good, actually.
You watched it?
Well, I'll say this. The claymation has come a long way.
Oh yeah.
Are they even doing it with clay
They
anymore?
are, and whoever is doing the clay now is way better than the OG clay master.
Well, they probably got like 40 guys running the clay now.
Could be. Or
Yeah.
clay has come a long way
Clay might have
as a
adapted.
material.
Yeah,
Did they take still frames of it?
I believe so. Yeah.
I just saw the Louis joke where he's like, I had clay in my bag, and the
Oh,
TSA
yeah.
agent took it and said, have a nice flight. Look, lady, either that's a bomb or it's not. And if it is, ask me a lot of questions. Okay, so I was going to say
Yeah.
that there was a moment in my life, as any, I think probably when I was in college, where, you start to rebel against your parents or your dad or whatever. Just a little angsty, a little phasey. And my dad, I don't know if he did it intentionally, but there was subliminal messaging around the house about how he longed to mend, and so for example, I came home and I logged in, I was on the TV and Netflix, and it was like back then the categories of movies that would be recommended for you were so specific.
Yeah.
And I remember the top category was like father-son reconciliation stories. Turns out there's a lot of movies
Yeah.
for that to be the case.
Yeah.
Damn. I wonder who
Um,
they're for. More the father or more the son?
Probably son coming back to father. Yeah. But I say
Probably.
this because that Steve Carell, Timothy Chalamet movie, I'm sure would have fit right under that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's probably like the darkest movie I've ever seen. Next to like Basketball Diaries. Basketball Diaries was so dark that it wasn't even like no part of it was enjoyable. You're like, this is just a tragedy.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked.
The fact that it was DiCaprio, though,
Yeah,
I
but
was
it
like, yeah.
The scene where he's in the bed and Samuel L. Jackson
Yeah.
won't let him go. It's just forcing him to kick it. That's some good acting.
I
bro.
watched that movie when I was like
Yeah.
13.
Yes.
Like way too young.
The two words together make it seem like a really nice
Yeah.
movie. Like
I
a
might have been.
pleasant-
It might have been closer to like 12 when I watched it.
Yeah. You think it's going to be a mashup of Love and Basketball and The Princess Diaries. Neither.
You really do.
Yeah.
It sounds like the same kind of thing.
Barely any basketball in that movie.
Yeah.
Second Princess
Barely.
Diaries reference.
Maybe like 1 minute of basketball.
Yeah.
And it's the scene where he's like, he takes the downers instead of the uppers on
Yeah.
Yeah,
accident.
there's a whole different kind of shooting going on in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like a mashup between Requiem for a Dream and
25th hour.
yeah, something.
I think I was so intrigued by the movie because I couldn't find it anywhere. It was the first movie I'd ever seen that wasn't on like Amazon Prime. It wasn't on any streaming platform, so I had to watch it on an illegal streaming
The
website.
first movie you'd ever seen that wasn't on Amazon Prime.
Dude, it's pretty tough to find a movie that's not on Amazon.
I know. I just think that to me, again, is just the generational divide showing itself.
Well, it used to be. Remember when it was just on demand?
Yes.
but I remember movie rentals.
Well, yeah, we did movie rentals too. I was just really young.
Only DVDs, I bet.
No, we had a VCR machine.
Really?
Yeah.
VCR
Yeah.
machine sounds funny.
I mean, I'm not from. I wasn't born in 2013.
Did you? So do you remember going to a movie store?
Yeah, we had one in right in our like little town hall area.
Was there like a porno section of it behind like beaded, like
I don't know. I
hanging
was way
beads?
too young to remember that.
Do you remember Do you remember occasionally having to rewind the movie when you brought it home because the previous person had not?
Nope.
Mm.
I'm assuming my parents probably did that because I was probably 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do remember there was a Blockbuster in the town over.
Was there a porno section in your video store?
Yeah, there was.
Did you when you were like 17, 18, did you ever wander in?
By that point, I had graduated to the internet.
Desktop porn?
Yeah.
Internet porn? Yeah, I guess so. I guess right around
I never
then.
felt the need to rent porn.
But I know I wandered in there once or twice. I probably wasn't 17, 18. I was probably a little bit younger. But I never knew how it would go, like bringing like the title to the front and being like, hey, can I get a copy of like Busty Babes 12 or whatever?
Yeah.
Do you think they would be disgusted by it? Or do you think they'd be like, nice choice?
Depends on the guy or girl.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
There's always a long-haired, like flannel wearing.
I think that there's probably a part of the training program for movie rental stores, just as there is for, I think, bodegas, when you have to get to the front of the line and point out which condoms you'd like, where the person, the cashier, is specifically taught in those moments to remain as poker-faced and resolute as possible.
Yeah, makes sense.
Don't make it weird.
The bodega onboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know. It would be funny if the dude at the bodega was just like,
Yeah, I know. Well,
laughing
the reason
at your
is
condom usage.
they say that members of immigration control are the most likely people to practice safe sex.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
That's just the way they live their lives. They're feds.
Interesting.
They play it by the book, which means that if you are a bodega owner and you start to laugh at the face of you see where I'm going here.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think they're like, hey, nice, man. Getting some pussy, huh? Fuck yeah, bro.
That would be another way to play it. And you're hoping for an immigration officer with a sense of humor.
Or who's like proud of their exploits.
That's
sexually.
true. That's true.
Who just takes it at face value that they're being complimented.
Yeah.
Where are those big ass boots from?
I just bought them this weekend because
They're
I had
fucking
to.
monsters.
Yeah, they look super nice. What are those?
Slam them on the table. I want to
I
just
know
hear the
that
weight of them.
brand.
No, slam it. I want to hear the weight. Oh, yeah.
Let me see that brand.
Oh, yeah.
These are Danners? Danners.
I definitely have seen those before.
Yeah. Yeah,
Good
these are
set.
good.
Great
These
Great
are,
ankle support.
I had to buy. I was in Vail this weekend, or Beaver
course.
Creek, actually.
You were in
We
Vail
never-
yesterday.
Yeah. Flew out of Vail, yeah. Is that your phone?
That's my phone. It's Bo.
Oh.
He's pissed
Have
Why?
one.
because he's being removed from our Call of Duty team.
Wait, you have to take this call.
No, he's just gonna call to say what's up.
I love that he calls you every day.
Yeah, he's in Spain, so it's probably like what 8 there, 9.
What do I have to do to be part of the group that when I call you, you pick up? Because I call you a lot.
Yeah, I pick up pretty much every single time
No,
you
you
call me. I do.
And I know not to call you before noon because you're still asleep.
That's not true. I was up at 9 this morning.
Wow, what happened?
Went to bed early because I went to bed at 6 the night before. A.M.
Right, I figured.
Devastating.
Why would you do that?
I was so dumb.
You stayed up all night playing video games?
Played video games until like 3. It wasn't 6. It was probably like 5:30 that I fell asleep.
Oh, that's nothing.
It was really bad. I felt awful.
That's like Coke night.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're in bed and you're like, well, I've ruined my next day already.
Which is
so I
Coke.
may as well just stay up.
You switched time zones.
Yeah.
You traveled across the Atlantic
Dude, if I
in your own bedroom.
honestly, like at this point, like I need to get into bed 2 to 3 hours before when I want to fall asleep.
Why? Because you're on your phone the whole time?
Yeah.
And what are you looking at exactly?
Dude, it's just I always watch YouTube videos
Is it
for
YouTube?
hours.
Yeah.
Are you watching the
Hours.
whole video? Are you like putting the video up in the corner while you scroll? Or are you just like,
no, I really don't do much scrolling. It's really just YouTube.
you just zone in on a
Like
video?
I'll watch a full video and then I'll be like, all right, what's next?
What did you like? What are some types of videos?
Well, the NFL Films is putting out like top 100 catches of the year, top 100 throws of the
Yeah.
year, top 100
Mhm.
runs of the year.
That
that
is a
shit
And
problem.
the videos are like 45 minutes
Yeah,
long.
it's tough. I
And
know. what
man,
you
I
mean.
was doing mock drafts for fantasy.
For fantasy, not even the
started
Patriots?
I started one at like 4:30 in the morning, and it didn't end until like 5 something.
Bro, hit me up if you're trying to mock draft fantasy. I would have got up right away.
Well, because I was thinking about it, because I was watching the top 100 plays, and you're like, there's a lot of good rookies out there that I'm like forgetting about that could be key players next season.
That's why you have to scout the actual draft too.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be rookies this year who nobody's ever heard of, but you have the edge because you were
Yeah.
watching the Boise State footage.
It's just tough because there's a lot of talent in running backs right now. There's a lot of good running backs. Like an overwhelming amount of good running backs right now.
Tough to choose.
Yeah.
You are basically addicted.
Like if the Giants get a good O-line, Tracy, that might be my 1-1.
I think that it's unlikely for Saquon Barkley to have another season on the heels of the one he just had of the same caliber. I just think that running back is a position that you get beat up.
I think he's got at least one more. I think
May,
might
but
not be next season.
I don't think it'll be next season.
But I think he'll still. I mean, he's obviously going to have over like I'd say he's definitely going to have over like 1,500 yards.
You think over 1,500?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know how many carries he takes?
Yeah, what is it like? It's like 20 something a game.
It's insane.
Was it like 25 a game?
He had like 360 carries or something like that,
Yeah.
I think, in the regular season. I think Derrick Henry had like 320 or something. But Derrick Henry's a couple years older than him, and he had
Yeah.
an equally good year
That's
last
true,
year.
but he didn't have a year before. Like that was a breakout year. He hasn't had that every year, right? Derrick Henry. He's had a lot of good years.
Yeah,
He's been in the league for what, 10 years?
some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Look
guess
at
some
us
people
talking
are
ball in the off season.
some people are just built a little differently, where they can bounce off hits and absorb it better.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon didn't really take any he doesn't really take like nasty hits.
Dude, he gets thrown to the ground sometimes awkwardly.
Yeah.
Where, guys are landing on top of you, twisting, landing on your legs.
I think it's different though when you got guys like Derrick Henry and Saquon who are like, not only are they running backs, like they're running backs, so like yeah, they're gonna get it's like a shorter span career, but they're also like the biggest guys on the field. Like Derrick Henry, it's like there's not really anyone that's hitting him that's gonna be like, whoa.
Yes, but Saquon's not one of the biggest. He's
Saquon's pretty big.
muscular, but he's not tall at all.
Yeah, but he's wide as fuck.
Well,
Like he probably takes a hit a lot.
I think he's
better
like
than,
230.
to that point,
than like Jameer
there's something
Gibbs.
about Josh Allen running that is different from any other quarterback running.
Yeah, I did have Josh Allen as my 1-1 in my mock.
Why don't you start a dynasty league so you can actually care about the offseason and then have a
Yeah.
draft after the NFL draft?
It's not a bad idea.
Dude, I was flying home from Vail yesterday.
First, one.
What?
First,
course.
No.
comfort.
No, I had a Delta
Coach.
flight and I was flying to Atlanta and then connecting from Atlanta to LaGuardia. And I didn't want to pay up because I thought I might get upgraded.
Yeah,
Then that flight got delayed enough that I wasn't going to make my connection.
yeah.
So I bailed on it and bought an American flight. And the only seats available were in the last row.
Ooh, from Atlanta.
No, that was a direct
Oh,
from Vail. So I bailed
Ooh.
on the whole Delta flight and got on the American flight. Hour delayed. We're flying, and we get to about 45 minutes from New York, and the pilot says, or maybe it must have been a little more than that. And the pilot goes, "All right, everybody, I've got some bad news. The weather in New York is terrible, so we are going to divert to Chicago."
Oh, Chicago?
Yeah.
What?
Why is that? First of all, that's not that bad.
I thought you were gonna say somewhere like Philly or DC or
Where you could
Rochester.
get on a train, you mean?
Yeah, like because last time.
I would much rather land in Chicago than Rochester.
Why?
Because first of all, I can
Well, you
jump to
wouldn't
the
land in
Chicago office
Rochester.
for work if I need to. If I have to spend
True.
the night, I could go, do stuff there. Or two, there's a lot more flights from Chicago to New York the next day.
But why not like Cleveland? Why so far west?
The only time I've ever been diverted was I landed in Rochester and I had to drive home because our flight got canceled when we landed.
Yeah.
So you went to Chicago?
But I got home that night.
Right.
But I'm assuming you did as well. So.
Well, we landed in Chicago, no information. People are People get on the phone when we land, and everyone's saying, "Yeah, it's a disaster. No, they diverted us to Chicago. I have no idea. I have no idea when I'm going to get home." We taxi into the gate. They don't open the doors.
No.
And then the pilot comes on and says, "All right, everybody, we're actually just going to add a bunch of fuel, and hopefully they're going to let us go back to New York." And everyone's, oh, back on the phone. No. I mean, I'm not gonna count my chickens yet. But they're saying that we're gonna go. We're gonna be back in tonight.
Oh.
And they fill us up. Everyone's standing up. Everyone's happy. Moving around the plane. I'm trying to think to myself. It took me a few minutes to realize that was the best outcome.
Yeah.
Because I had gotten my head around the idea of, going into Chicago, staying at a decent hotel, having room service, and chilling for a night.
Yeah.
What time was it?
At that point, it was probably 7:30.
Oh, you could have got dinner.
Yes, exactly. And I love Chicago. So I thought, okay, I guess this is the best option. But by now, what was supposed to have been a 4-hour flight is turning into a 7-hour flight.
Yeah.
With a landing, stop, can't get off the plane. So everyone's the gigantic line for the bathroom. The whole plane is in line for the bathroom. I'm in the last row.
Yeah.
I only decided after 2 or 3 people had gone to the bathroom that I wanted to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Am I allowed
To cut the line?
to cut that line, or do I have to walk to the front of the plane against traffic and wait from that point
I
forward?
think you got to walk to the front of the line.
That's kind of what I didn't walk. I waited till everyone had gone, and then I went.
Smart move.
But I didn't know what the proper protocol was, because the only advantage to being in the back of the plane is that in an event like that, you do have
You got to act
primary
quick, though.
access to. You got to be the first one.
Yeah.
Out.
Or you run the ship and you're like, one in, one out, clear the aisle, get
Yeah.
the egress right,
Also,
$5 a head.
People were just milling in the galley. They were milling.
Yeah. Stretching the legs.
A lot of mill workers.
Yeah.
And anyway, so then we taxi back out. We take off. We head to New York. By the way, they did the fucking safety briefing again, which pissed me off.
Yeah, that annoys
We
the
know.
fuck out of me.
It's the whole cast.
Yeah.
We were all here.
Yeah.
That must be law. That must be there's
They
probably,
have to do it.
That's what the air marshals are doing now that there's no terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Just auditing to make sure that the seatbelts,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's law.
the
No
requirements.
meal service, no drinks on the second leg. That's fine.
What were you reading something
I was watching the
Black Hawk Down.
Black Hawk
documentary.
Down documentary.
on an iPad?
My phone.
Tough one to watch on the plane. People around you must have been pissed.
Well, I
He
had
had no
headphones on.
headphones.
I know. I mean, just like from the visuals
He was
Me
playing
and
it
my
via
Bluetooth
of
speaker.
helicopters
A
falling out
boombox.
of the sky.
He had a boombox on his shoulder in row 34.
Yeah, it's all dramatic reenactments. They don't have that much footage of.
The actual.
They have a little footage of the first crash
Really?
from a far away. It's pretty insane.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I'll have to look it up when I get home,
I mean, the thing explodes.
and I'll watch it multiple times.
Into,
since
like-
I'm a sicko.
It doesn't have flame, but it's just giant
Yeah.
pile of dust and pieces of metal and stuff.
All right, guys, let's take a second and talk about our good friends over at Orgain. This podcast is sponsored by Orgain. Orgain believes that real nutrition has the power to make a real difference in people's lives. Orgain's new 30-gram complete protein shakes offer protein-packed real nutrition that's designed to satisfy your cravings without any added sugar, which is the worst thing, Francis. I know when we're looking at protein shakes, too much sugar.
Yeah.
That's that's a red flag for me.
DQ it.
That's a pure DQ. They are also an excellent source of premium ultra filtered protein with all 9 essential amino acids. Looking to fuel your personal best and feel your personal best, I presume. You need muscle support and recovery, or are you looking to maintain a healthy lifestyle? Orgain's 30-gram protein shakes check all of those boxes. And from protein powders to bars to shakes to tons of other nutritional products, Orgain has products that the whole family will love. Absolutely love the variety, but also just low sugar is such a huge thing about Orgain. Remember, there are no quick fixes when it comes to your health. If you want more protein, give Orgain 30-gram protein shakes a try. Head to Orgain.com/boydad or use code BOYDAD for 30% off your order. Ooh, look at that, 30% off. That's the best offer you'll find, but you'll have to use our code BOYDAD for 30% off. One last time, for 30% off, head over to Orgain.com/boydad and use my code BOYDAD for 30% off.
Alrighty, let's talk about kickoff. No matter how fast time seems to be flying by, it's never too late to make progress. If you're saving up for a big purchase like a home, a car, or need to build credit fast, Kickoff can help. They're the #1 credit building app in the App Store, and plans start at just $5 a month. No credit check, no hidden fees, and no interest. Francis, why don't you talk a little bit about how you use Kickoff?
Well, frankly, I have pretty good credit, but it can always be better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I use Kickoff, Kikoff, to just make sure that any time I need to convince a landlord to take a flyer on me to rent a place, I'm giving myself the best chance possible.
Of course, if your credit is under 600, you could jump up to 28 points in your first month. Kickoff is a smart, legit credit hack with no catch, no credit check, no hidden fees, and no interest. It's simple. You make on-time payments, credit bureaus see your good behavior, and your credit grows fast. Building credit can happen faster than expected. With Kickoff, don't wait. Get your first month for just $1 at getkickoff.com/boydad. That's kickoff without the C. Get 80% off at getkickoff.com/boydad. Must sign up via getkickoff.com/boydad to activate offer. Offers apply to new customers first month only. Subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions may apply. Point stat.
You got it, buddy.
Point stat based on Equifax. Vantage score 3.0 changes for Kickoff users starting under 600 who made their first on-time payment between January 2021 and March 2024. Payment and credit activity outside Kickoff can have an impact on your credit. Individual results may vary. So did you guys end up getting home?
We get to New York and we are about to land. I would say that the last 20 minutes of the flight was the scariest experience I've ever had on a plane.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys were getting tossed around?
Dude, it was as if we were a kite. Felt like we were a kite made of tinfoil. Just an absolute fucking humbling universe moment of God will play with our plane as if he's a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
You know? And again, I'm trying to watch Black Hawk Down. Watch the 50 cal.
Still just an awful choice to be watching that.
Your taste in what to watch is done. I will
Dude,
not hear a word.
In the middle of a plane crash and you're
right.
watching
It would
a
have been comforting
documentary
to
about a
throw on
helicopter
fucking
crashing.
Moonlight or whatever. What's the one?
Spotlight
for the 40th time.
I'd rather be watching Spotlight in that scenario.
Yeah, that classic hilarious scene where the priest admits to diddling kids.
No, there are some really funny scenes in that in that movie though.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
I am coming into land and we're getting tossed around. And to the point where, you know, you come over the runway and you see how we're supposed to be lined up and we're not even close.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is going to be one of those times where we're going to have to go back up and circle around, which has never happened to me.
Really?
I've never had that before.
That would happen to me twice.
Wow.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, I know.
They don't tell you.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're just going back up.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we're not close. There's just no way. And not only that, but then I'm like, I don't think this is going to get any easier.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have this. And I don't know how cocky this pilot is. He had an accent.
Yeah.
Not like, I want to say Eastern Europe. Yeah, it's an American Airlines flight. And the guy is coming on with an unplaceable accent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? How did we get here?
Yeah.
So
Like Tony Saragusa in Rounders.
yeah.
It's like kind of Russian, but like, is that an American guy pretending to be Russian up there?
Yeah. But then I remembered he had flown into Vail, which I think you have to have special training to land in Vail as well as Aspen, Telluride, all those mountain airports. So he may have some sort of higher credential. And we are still getting tossed around, right?
What's the noise on the plane like? Like the same way that everyone was like, oh.
There's a little gaspiness. There's a little gasping. I mean, we're hitting the turbulence drops.
Yeah, those are the worst.
The stomach drop turbulence.
Yeah.
Where it's like
you grab the guy's leg.
Yeah.
the plane just drops like whatever. Feels like 40 feet in the air.
Except realistically, it's probably like 1 foot.
No,
It's probably
it's
like
a lot.
Could be more like 300 feet.
It could be. I'm glad you just completely changed your mind in the middle of that thought.
Because now you can't argue it.
Yeah.
Because he said both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said.
And the truth is probably in the middle somewhere.
Sure, probably. I'll be the closest.
140 feet.
I'm the closest regardless.
So, no, I guess it'd be 155 feet. Anyway, the wheels touch down hard, and then we're swerving around the runway. And I'm like, I do this thing when I'm in a really tough landing situation like that, where I want the last thoughts in my life to be positive. So I'm just thinking about my family. And I'm picturing them and kind of...
So this was really bad.
Praying to say... Yeah, I mean, the flight got diverted 3 hours before.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed... No flights were allowed to come in.
Imagine
and
what it would have been like if you landed on time.
Dude, it didn't seem like anything had changed.
Yeah.
I don't know why they said, oh, no, we're good now.
Yeah.
We weren't.
He was just like, fuck the FAA.
Yeah.
I'll land the bitch.
So we finally, and then you straighten it out and the brakes come on and it's okay. And people started clapping. Yeah. And I joined. I've never done it before. I've never clapped upon the landing of a plane.
What was it like?
It was so deserved. The amount of skill that this pilot... I think he did one of those landings where you come in sideways. I think that's what it was. I think he drifted in and handled it and landed, and everybody clapped. I've been on flights where people clapped. Usually, it's from some country home where a lot of those people I don't think have ever been on a plane before. And so, but this was Vail to New York. So I presume a lot of these people, I mean, a lot of them were wearing, $800 cowboy hats.
Made that flight the week before.
Ralph Lauren shit.
Yeah.
They'd come from Aspen because that Aspen airport, usually people end up flying out of Vail. A lot of wealthy people. And everyone clapped. And I joined. And I fully thought it was the right thing to do. And we taxied in and we got out. And sure enough, the pilot came out for his curtain call.
Oh yeah,
standing there, and I gave him his props.
What'd you say?
I was like, that was a hell of a landing. And he goes, thank you.
He knew what he did.
He was there.
That's so sick.
He was there to
when you
collect his
clapped,
praise.
did you are you supposed to like kind of like look around to everybody else when you clap, or you just can't kind of keep your eyes forward? I think that's the cheesiest part about clapping after something is like when you're all like sharing the moment and like looking at each other. And
Yeah.
like,
We've been through this together. And by the grace of God,
pointing at each other.
and that Estonian daredevil who had his hand on the wheel.
What do you realistically think it's like though for the
We
pilot?
landed.
Like, do you think he's
I think he's
actually
an adrenaline junkie and
Do
he
you
doesn't care
think
about
he's
that.
actually like so in your head you're like, this is the worst turbulence I've ever experienced?
It wasn't the worst turbulence necessarily that I've ever experienced. It was the most that the plane had ever been affected by weather in my life. Here's something crazy. When we were parked at the gate and I stood up, the plane was moving like a boat under my feet by the wind. This is a parked, big plane. Whatever, 6 seats across.
What time was this?
We landed at 10.
Was it that windy?
Dude,
Yes,
it was
it's been insane.
nuts.
Everyone's been talking about how windy it was. I guess I haven't been outside.
Do you see what I'm
much.
saying? The plane was shifting around on its wheels, parked at the gate.
Yeah, that's
by the
fucking
wind.
insane.
I almost got knocked off of my bike today, like broadside. Like the wind was just like pushing me sideways.
I can't believe you biked in today.
It's fucking insane.
I would not have done today.
It's 30 degrees and
feels like it's like 10.
yeah, it's nasty with the wind. But that's exciting as hell. And it's fun probably if you've had like a drink or two. You're like, whoa, if you're just sober or after a long weekend of drinking, the natural flight anxiety that comes with that has to just have people. That must have been the most scared a collective of 90
it
people
was
has ever
tough.
been.
The worst one I ever had. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell which one's the worst one you've actually had because I used to be way more scared of flying. So like the worst one I might have ever had probably wasn't actually that bad. I probably just thought it was a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember it was when I was taking Ativan to fly, and like it was like at a point where it was like the turbulence was so bad, and I was on Ativan, and I was literally like people were like screaming, and I was looking around being like, "We're good." I was like, "These things don't go down. We're fine."
Yeah.
I was like
I was so calm.
on the one flight. I was like shit faced. Like my one dog was like we were about to have to put her down. Didn't give a fuck about like the world.
Yeah.
And everyone was throwing up. I was like, it's fine. I'm like,
was that the
laughing
one
at
that you were
them.
going to Austin?
No, that was the one we were. That wasn't a private plane. That was just a regular plane that got struck by lightning.
Yeah,
like, right next to me.
Well, I didn't assume private plane.
Well, the one that I was laughing at was a private one.
Oh, was that when you were with
Big Cat and
Spider?
Jerry, and they were all throwing
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
and, stuff,
yeah.
and like Mike was
shit.
like running to the back
Really?
and throwing up, and I was just like cackling, laughing.
Yeah.
Usually I'm so fucking scared, but there's been a couple other ones, one from West Virginia, one from Georgia, where I was like, this is it, where we were dropping literally like 400 feet at
That's
the time
great.
on a
The
small
drop
plane.
is the one that I have a hard time.
Yeah, the drop's tough.
Hard time like brushing that one off.
Like I watched everybody on the plane like stand up with the drop. I was just watching everybody like counter gravity, like completely lose their gravitational pull to the.
The thing that you said earlier about when you get diverted and people start calling. When I got
That's so funny.
dude, when I got diverted when we landed in Rochester, I was in first class, and I mean, like you were last row of the plane. If people are calling and having those calls in the last row, imagine what the people in first class are saying. Dude, people on my flight were like going up to the flight attendants being like, this is the worst fucking flight I've ever been on in my entire life.
I'm supposed to be at the White House in 20 minutes.
Figure this out. I need you to figure this out.
Do you have any idea what happens when I don't show up to work?
Your net worth goes down.
Yeah.
You see that? You see that name tag you got right there? Might as well take it off right now.
Give it to me. Give me
I
your name
control
tag.
the economy.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how powerful I am?
Yeah.
No, we literally, the dude next to me on the flight, like the guy to like the row over, I remember he called like as we landed, he was front row. So he had his feet up against the wall and he calls like his wife or whatever. And he's literally like out loud in front of like to everyone, just talking normally. He's like, yeah, no, this is the worst fucking flight I've ever been on. He's like, we're never flying Delta again. This is a fucking nightmare. And like the flight attendants are like, we're so sorry.
Yeah. Dude, how funny is it that we blame the airline?
Yeah, for saving your life.
Yeah.
Being like, you will die if we fly through
Or
this.
just that,
Fucking Delta.
somehow United would have handled it differently.
Yeah.
Well,
United would've
United's fleet of planes, they're actually impervious to adverse weather.
United's got these new Boeings. They just cut right
They
through.
cut
that
right through.
turbulence.
Yeah, they're covered in Gore-Tex. It's the Gore-Tex Pro.
When that happened to me, we landed in Rochester, and then same thing. They were like, we're gonna fill up with fuel, and then we're gonna go back to New York. And so we filled up with fuel, waited for like 45 minutes, and then they're like, all right, we're taxiing off. I fall asleep for probably an hour, and then I wake up and we're back at the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, flight's off completely.
Yeah.
We canceled the flight, and then I had to drive back 8 hours.
The one time
Jesus.
going back from a rough and rowdy, we were trying to beat the weather to the airport to get on a plane to come back to New York. And the weather was like terrible coming in. They're like, it has to be now. It was like a 5-minute window. And as we were getting on the plane, like just like chairs or like and luggage just tumbling across the runway. And I asked the dude, I was like, are we going to be okay? Like the flight attendant was just chipper as hell. And he was like, oh, you're not going to die. It's going to be really uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
the plane's not going to crash.
It's like that boat pilot in Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it's a little light chop. Light chop.
That scene, the scene in Wolf of Wall Street where he looks out the window
The plane
and
crashes.
the planes hit each
Did
other.
you fucking see that? As the voiceover. That shit really happened.
That's like one of the funniest movie
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
I
great.
love a good bad flight story. They always get me for some reason.
I know when he said his flight was bad, I've never seen you light up like that.
Because it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's scary, but it is funny because it's like you're not gonna die
Well,
realistically.
I don't know. There's been some plane crashes in the United States recently that
Okay, the plane crashes in the United States. This is what happens. One plane crash. There was one actual plane crash, and it was a collision midair, which is how like 90% of plane crashes happen nowadays.
the Philly one too.
And then there's a bunch of small ones. People don't realize those happen all the time. They're never a big deal because small like Cessna like size planes crash. That happens.
Wait, but what about the Philly one? What was that? How big was that plane?
It was
I
a
think seven
tiny
people
plane.
seven people died on it or
Oh.
something.
That happens like all the time in the world. The reason that it was such a big deal was because the one in DC happened like the day before. So now all of a sudden, everyone on Twitter who has to be like a fucking conspiracy theorist, they're like, something's going on.
A
And it's like,
budding
no,
FAA
yeah.
enthusiast.
no, one plane crashed and then the tiny planes that do crashed as a coincidence.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying I fly
It's
these
not
tiny
like
planes
it's not
all
like
the
they're
fucking time,
It's not
bro.
like they're shooting down planes from the sky.
I stay on a tiny plane.
Mhm.
Haven't you heard these anecdotes that I'm telling you?
Yeah, I guess.
No, thank God I don't fly because it wasn't worth it to me. I'd rather go through the airport experience
Yeah.
and drive somewhere. I'm sure you've been on private planes.
Yeah, I have.
Also, don't private pilots require significantly less experience?
No, I don't
than-
think so. I don't think that's right.
No?
I think it's the other way around.
Really?
Yeah. They're flying it. I think a lot of jets fly to higher outs, like 45,000
Yeah.
feet cruising, which is why that and the more powerful engines is why they cut flight times down significantly. But I do think the instances of private jets crashing are higher than commercial.
Yeah, 100%.
Soon enough, they're just gonna have like a rocket that just goes straight up and then just parabolas down to where you're
Well, they
trying to
had
go.
the what was the
Concorde.
the Concorde?
I almost, by the way, when you asked me if you've probably flown private, I almost had the same response that girls do when you ask them how much coke they do. Well, I've never paid for it.
I know I'd get addicted if I
And then-
bought it myself one time.
And then it's like, well, you know what? That just makes you a fucking asshole. You're just getting it for free.
Yeah.
The rest of us have to pay for cocaine. No, I don't do it so much that I've ever had to pay for it. No, me? I'm just a hot girl. Oh, a free line?
The Concorde
Yeah, I'll
planes
fly
flew
private.
at I think
I'll take a
60,000
picture on
feet.
the runway as if this is my lifestyle all the time.
Yeah.
They flew at 60,000
I
and they break
believe
the sound
so.
barrier too, right?
That's why they stopped flying them.
60,000 sounds really high.
That's pretty sure what they flew at.
I'm
They
gonna need to
flew
fact
super
check that.
high, and then there was too many sonic booms, so it was starting to become like a problem.
I thought it was because they couldn't
And
They
there was
couldn't
a
make
really
them
bad
profitable.
crash.
I thought that there was no seat price you could charge basically to offset the cost of that flight.
Well, they're supposed to be revamping it with United's coming out with one.
A Concorde.
Yeah, I think it's called the Boom.
So they're marketing the sound of how loud it's
So-
going to be.
Let me look it up. So Concorde
Or maybe it's just like a
Boom Supersonic. It's not. It was supposed to come out in
Costco guys
2025,
thing.
I thought.
Mm.
But Concorde was so it would be like 3 hours to fly from like New York to
To
London.
London, yeah.
And
My parents did it.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty
They,
sick.
they were gifted it as a wedding present.
That's pretty sick.
Tickets
what
to
did they
go to-
say?
They said it was pretty sick. It's very small though.
It's tiny.
Plane was very narrow. I
Yeah.
think it was like one seat on either side. or
What?
something
Yeah,
like
it's very
that.
small. It only seats like
Super
20 people
narrow.
or something.
What?
But there was a bad crash
Mhm.
where everyone died
Really?
on Concorde. Yeah. And then also the sonic booms were like, because they would be flying over like Europe, and then there would just be a sonic boom at like 4 a.m. and it would wake up the entire continent.
Yeah. Herds of cows tipping over dead.
Yeah, and it was happening like on a daily basis.
Entire wineries, all their bottles and shattered.
Yeah, and a ton of people started complaining, and then the crash happened, and then they just called it quits. But United's coming out with, or they've been coming out with one.
Isn't there only one sonic boom though, and it's when they pass the speed of sound?
I think there
Per
can be.
flight?
I think there can be multiple. Because I've seen it. Like, have you ever seen videos of sonic booms? And there's like 2.
Yeah, sonic boom's probably one of my favorite things.
It's pretty sick.
As a kid, I used to just say it all the time.
Yeah,
I don't even know. I would like throw
Sonic
a snowball
boom.
and say it,
yeah.
which didn't really make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
But I
Well,
liked
isn't
it.
that like Street Fighter or some shit?
Yeah, I think so.
See,
Sonic
that
boom.
dude that jumped out of the spaceship for Red Bull. Remember that? Remember when that happened?
Yeah.
Did he break the sound barrier? I think he did.
No.
No? He was moving.
I don't think a human body falling at terminal velocity is faster than the speed of sound. I don't think a human body can fall that fast.
I think it depends on how high you are.
He was in space.
Right?
I think he might have broke the sound barrier.
Check it out.
10
What's-
meters per second. You know the formula.
I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong.
Sonic boom.
You're right. It's possible that before he kind of entered more of the Earth's atmosphere, I guess maybe he could have.
I'd prefer if you guys argued this as if it was fact.
I don't do that.
Neither do I.
I don't want to I don't want to die on a hill and be wrong.
Yeah,
I'd
he
rather-
broke the sound barrier.
He did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. First person to break the sound barrier without being in a vehicle.
That's cool.
He jumped 24 miles above Earth.
Wow.
He reached top speed of 843 miles per hour.
What is the speed of sound?
He was in free fall for 4 minutes and 19. So he did 800 miles in 4 minutes.
That's nuts.
I mean, is that the fastest that anything has ever moved? like including planes and rocket
He made
ships.
himself a meteor.
Yeah.
He just turned himself into a...
800 miles in 4 minutes.
Wouldn't
No, wait,
a
is that what it
rocket-
is? 800 miles? That's how high up he was?
Or I guess he was free falling. So
For 4
before
minutes.
he hit
So
the
he's
parachute.
800 miles an hour. But how high up did you say he was?
He was 24 miles above the Earth.
So he couldn't have gone 800
Yeah,
miles.
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What?
That wouldn't make any sense.
Uh,
But that's the top speed that he reached was 800
800
miles
miles
per
an hour for 4 minutes.
see.
Yeah.
That's still very fast.
It's very
If
fast.
he did it for an hour, he'd probably like,
Yeah, he would
if he
die.
just got bored and he's just like pulling out a sleeve of Pringles because he's been going 800 miles an hour for 45 minutes.
What do you think happens as a human when you break the sound barrier? I'd imagine it's like,
Didn't we see that in Top Gun? Top Gun Maverick?
what happens? I don't remember.
Well, a lot of people think that
That's
he
a good
died at the very
rewatch.
beginning of the movie.
yeah, right. That is worth a rewatch. That is a good movie. Yes.
What's the most amount of G's you've ever hit? We should do that for the podcast. We should get it. We should go to one of those places where we can hit 8 G's.
That's not a bad idea.
I would. You guys would see a side of me that you've never seen. Scream crying.
I thought you were going to say that you could do it really well.
So
Oh
did
no,
I.
I would be such a pussy to that.
Yeah.
I can barely handle the takeoff. I think you hit like 1 G when you're taking off on like a
You start
commercial
to-
airline.
Dude,
Like,
it's
Harry, Harry,
It's funny if you've ever
stay
heard,
with us, buddy.
If
He's
you've ever
out.
heard if you've ever heard the audio of the guy who's talking to the guy in the
Oh,
chair,
yeah.
he's talking to him as if he's having birth.
Yes,
He's like,
yes.
and breathe.
Yeah.
And breathe.
Yeah,
Now
as
clench.
your face is being
Yeah.
like peeled back.
You turn like 100 years old on
Yeah.
a regular takeoff of a flight.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How many G's does it go? Or he went to 20, he went to Mach what? 10? What did he go to? Mach 8?
I think 8 is like insane, and I think anything above that is like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know how possible what he did in the movie. I don't think that was realistic. And
Because they
certainly
can't slow it down, and if you get parachuted out, you die. right
yeah,
away.
you can't eject from a plane at that speed. That's what they
You can't
said.
ejack from a plane.
No. You can pre-jack
We should do that. We
That's
should
what
start
the two
doing shit
sonic
like that
booms
for the
are.
pod.
2 times.
What?
Like that's like some like we should start doing like cool shit.
Cool.
Just put out like a 30-second video of us going max G's.
You
See who can get to the max G.
I think we have always wanted to do this type of stuff. I'm to hear you being on board for any
Yeah,
extracurricular.
that sounds so awesome. I'm
off-
so
off-
down.
I would
down.
definitely be down to hit Max G, see what it feels like. I'd be worried that it would fuck me up long term.
It probably
like that
does.
night I wouldn't be able
It's
to
probably like
sleep.
people who do like
Yeah.
too much
yeah.
ketamine or something like that.
Like once you experience 8Gs, like the regular world might not do it for you.
Yeah, probably wouldn't even be able to get to bed till like
No.
6 a.m. or something.
Like what if you just lost the appeal for life? You were like, I need to live at 8Gs.
Too
I
many
need to feel
Gs.
that rush constantly.
I mean, I watched the video of Travis Pastrana jumping out of the plane, no parachute, this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy who probably has lived at 8Gs and is trying to get back to 8Gs all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Just
he's actually
chasing 9.
addicted.
Yeah,
Didn't he pretend that he was like sleeping or something and wakes up and
Yep.
dives out?
takes a sip of the Red Bull.
Has the guy going next to him, and then there's another guy hovering in case that guy messes up to swipe down.
That's got to be crazy.
Yeah.
It'd probably be. I always thought it was cold because he's only wearing shorts, no shirt.
He probably has so much adrenaline that he's like
Yeah.
hard.
We jumped out of that plane for Most Dangerous Game Show.
Oh, I totally forgot that you've been skydiving.
I've been twice, same place.
Is it sick?
I don't know why. I wish I hadn't done it again
Why?
because I think once is enough of a finger wag to God.
Yeah.
I had no interest in finger wagging to God.
I don't think I have no interest in doing that ever.
Getting away with it once is all you need. I don't, it's like watching Spotlight.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that SNL sketch
You don't want to
that they
relive
did?
it.
No.
I think it was from this year. The Please Don't Destroy guys did it, where they're like going skydiving,
Mm-mm.
and they're like they look over, and the pilot's got like he's got like the like how Uber drivers have their phone like mounted
Mhm.
up top, and he's watching a TikTok that just says how to fly a plane, and he has AirPods in.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is also like a notoriously dangerous skydiving
Is
haunt.
it?
I think that there's been a lot of. I didn't learn this till afterwards, but I think that there's been significant loss of life at that one.
Dear
Dude,
God.
when I was in Phoenix, my openers, one of them's dude Andrew lives in New York, but he's from Phoenix, came out and he was staying until like Monday because he was back in Arizona, and him and the host were going skydiving the next day on Sunday. And then Saturday they come in. They've been talking about going skydiving all week. And then Saturday they come in and they're like, someone died yesterday at the place that we were going to.
Jeez.
And then I guess they like shut down.
But would that have been one of the tandem ones?
I don't know.
Because when you express to the guy who is, strapped to your back and is topping you, you say, I'm scared. And he goes, oh, this is nothing. It's like riding a Ferris wheel. That's the level of safety we're at.
Which I'm scared of.
I don't
Ferris
really
wheels.
think Ferris wheels are that safe. There's like a 14-year-old kid running them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. So my guess would be that the person who died there was probably someone trying to get their license. Or,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's my 18th jump.
Yeah.
That shit is scary.
But then there's like a couple stories of people who like their parachute didn't pull and then they live.
Yeah, so I had an Uber driver in Dallas. I think I told you this story. Who both of his legs were prosthetics.
Yeah.
From the knee down.
Mhm.
And we were talking enough that I felt like I could ask him what happened, and he said, "I'm an avid skydiver." And his chute got tangled.
Yeah.
And he knew that in that event, you have to put your legs out and break your legs
Yeah.
to
Save your
survive.
life.
Yeah.
Because, they're going to act as like a spring or a hydraulic
Yeah.
against your vital organs and
Yeah.
your spine. So huge, compound fractures in both legs. They tried initially to save the legs and then just said, fuck it, and took them away.
Yeah.
And now to deal with it, he said the only thing that works is eating 250 milligrams of edibles a night.
Damn.
That's how much he eats.
Is this Clemmer?
We've never seen Clemmer's legs.
Yeah, that's true.
But because we were talking about, maybe it was actually in Austin because he picked me up from the airport. Anyway,
Is every Uber driver in Austin like fucked up? Remember when we were there and every single Uber driver we had was deaf?
Deaf, yeah.
Like every
It's
single
three,
one.
3 out of 4.
We had 3 in a row that were deaf.
No way.
And they'd play the directions at the loudest volume you could even, like, because they don't even know, they don't hear it. So like we were in an Uber, we were going from Cap City back to like downtown.
Wait, how do you know that they don't hear it?
Because they're deaf.
Fully?
It says.
But why are they playing the directions at all then?
They probably
out
don't
loud?
even know it's playing out loud.
I didn't know it's volume.
I think
Dude,
you're making an assumption. If they have the volume and the directions up that loud, my guess is it's because they want to hear it.
Or they could be like it's like people who are legally blind, but they have thick enough glasses. Maybe these people are legally
deaf.
The
But if they
volume that it was made me think that you could be right. Maybe he's trying to hear it. I don't know at that point why he wouldn't just go headphones and put it up to max volume.
Well, you're not technically allowed to drive with headphones on.
Is that an Austin thing?
No, I think in general.
I think that's a federal law.
I don't know if I've been in an Uber where they don't have headphones on.
Do they have both ears?
No,
Just one, right?
usually just one.
Yeah.
the
but-
Bluetooth.
But it would be like we would be just sitting in silence. Like we were coming home, we did a live podcast, and we were going back, and like we'd be sitting in silence, and all of a sudden it'd just be like, "Turn right!" Like the loudest volume you've ever heard, and you'd be like, "Oh!" It was insane.
They
But it
wanted
was
us to go
3
deaf.
Uber drivers back to back.
Yeah, it was 3. I that's not hyperbole. It was.
And you know what
actually
they
3.
said? They said that it was all of them said it was because they were skydiving and their eardrums bursted while they were skydiving.
Well, because they had lost their legs, so they were going faster. They didn't have legs to slow them down as they were nuggeting through the sky.
By the way,
They said they hoped to lose their arms.
I asked the guy, my driver, I said, have you ever gone skydiving since? He goes, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, of course.
He said that was an important part of kind of coming to terms with what had happened to him. But he,
Does he wear his prosthetics while he's skydiving so he has something to like break his fall?
I think so. And he's got a special pair that are actually just springs. Straps on the springs. Yeah.
Every that's like every single like Shark Week. You ever used to watch Shark Week?
Yeah, I didn't really get into it. no.
Really? Oh, I used to love Shark Week, but it would be like they would have like the episodes that would be like it would just be like people fishing and you'd see big great whites, and then all of a sudden you'd have the episode where it was about someone that got attacked by like a bull shark or a great white, and every single one of them would be like, "Oh yeah, I go surfing every day."
Right.
They're like, that's how I've never felt more connected to the ocean.
Face your fears.
And it's like, yeah, you could just not go
Right.
swing in a pool.
Well, then they win, though. The Sharks win.
I'd be cool. Like if that was me, I'd be like, yeah, you won. I have no
I
legs.
mean, the sharks are older than us. The sharks are going to wind up winning over humans. Like we're going to nuke each other or something. The sharks will just be down there chilling.
Yeah, probably.
True.
Well, how was the guy on the gas and the brake?
Except when you do the nuclear testing in water.
Yeah.
And 400 sharks get blown
Yeah.
fucking sky high.
And that's probably why they attack us back.
That's
They're
one of
like,
the
"We need to-"
best like nuclear testing videos is the one in the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like a tsunami comes out of nowhere.
What was your question?
How was the guy on the brakes with the prosthetic leg?
He was a good driver. He said that I asked him about the phantom pain, which I'd heard about, which is this this
Like a
thing where you
psychological-
imagine that you still have your limb.
Yeah.
People who have had amputations, that happens to them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've
and they'll
heard
get
about that.
pain in a part of their foot or whatever that they think is still there. And he goes, that happened a lot in the beginning. Now what his issue is he has imaginary itches. And that drives him fucking crazy. And he described it. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it sounded terrible.
Sounds awful.
And he said the only thing he could find that helped with that was marijuana. Because the doctors were prescribing all different types of medications to help him deal with that. And each one had a crazy side effect that he didn't like. Huge weight gain, made him, sick, all that. And that's when he found.
250 milligrams of edibles.
Well, I think he worked his way up.
Yeah, probably.
Because he's
I
got such
wonder-
a tolerance now.
Do you think that he's at the peak, or do you think he's gotten to the peak and backed it off a little bit? You think 500 were too much for him?
500, his legs came back.
Just so he could itch them like for like a minute.
500, he was just scratching.
Just God came to him and was like, "I'll give you 5 more minutes with your legs." And he's like, "I'll take it just to get this fucking itch out."
500 got out of control fast.
250.
I woke up, I was midair.
Jesus.
has to be scary.
Why did he say something? Oh, I said to him, I said, "It isn't that an expense?" He said he eats that much a night.
Yeah.
I said, "Isn't that expensive?"
Say, why do you think I'm driving Uber?
Yeah, something like that.
He said, I'm a CEO.
He had a friend who made it, and was giving him a deal.
If you get like something like that though, where you're genuinely using weed for medical purposes, is there any insurance that covers that or no?
Well, I would think when you actually have your medical marijuana card in a state that does the proper thing, and I know that usually those dispensaries will have a different price for the medical patients versus recreational. It's cheaper for them.
That makes
and they
sense.
can buy a lot more.
Yeah.
The limit for if you have a proper medical card is way more.
You can just get like a pound.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in Maine, I think for recreational, it's like you can only buy 2.5 ounces a day. It's like, maybe it's a week, but it's like, yeah, that's plenty.
Yeah.
2.5 ounces?
Yeah, they're always like at every city I go to, they're always talking about how it's like, if you get caught with like 2 ounce, like they're like, well, the max you can have on you at a time is like this certain amount, and it's like, or else you get charged with
Criminal possession.
and what is it? It's like intent to sell,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, yeah, like if you have 4 ounces on you, you probably are selling weed.
This is all for me. What?
Yeah.
This is for
Yeah.
tonight. And this other two's for tomorrow.
You're also probably
Morning.
tired from firemen carrying bushels of weed on your back.
Yeah.
Just a Joe Rogan kettlebell of weed. Where the fuck is?
Yeah, where's
Where's
Joe?
Joe?
Where is
Oh,
Rogan?
he's down there. I'll get him since Harry can't.
Someone moved him.
It's probably Wallow and Gilly when they come in here to
I
interview
know.
Big X the Plug or
Do their
whatever type of
cool
shit
ass
they're doing.
interviews.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Mook went to the parade.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the video was sick.
Yeah, he went to the parade. He got it. He dislocated his shoulder.
Doing a Oklahoma drill.
He was no, that's what I thought it was going to be. He was climbing a tree. He said, and he said that he said he was like the amount of shame that he felt after dislocating it. He was like, "Why am I climbing trees when I'm 28 years old?" And then he said that he got like they found some like nurse just in the crowd who like kind of popped it back in, but he said it was still fucked up, and he was like, "I can't go to the ER because if I go to the ER with a dislocated shoulder, I'm going to be there for fucking 24 hours. Like he's going to be the last person they treat."
Mm-hmm.
If someone like going into the ER being like, my arm hurts when I move it like this,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, okay,
I think they would
that guy's
take care
brain
of
is
him.
hanging out of his
The
head.
trick to that, I think, is you just go in screaming.
Yeah, true.
Also,
Just covered in fake blood.
if I had to rank the people I know in my life whose shoulders would dislocate the easiest, I think Mook would be right at the top of the list. I bet you he can pop it out like that finger trick you do where you're like, oh, I just pulled my thumb off. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I bet that's how easily his shoulder
if he
pops
like
out.
Harlem shakes, his shoulder's going.
We were playing video games Saturday night. Like
It's held
late.
together with spicy nuggets. Fucking honey mustard sauce.
We were playing really late on Saturday night, and in between every game, Mook would go like completely silent, and I was kind of being like, all right, we should probably wrap it up. Like it seems like everyone's pretty gassed, and then I would be like, should we get off? And then like out of nowhere, Mook would come back, and you'd hear him like chewing, and he'd be like, no. I'm like, let's keep playing. And then I found out that he was just eating like donuts the entire time in between games.
That's an insane thing to eat a lot of that night.
He got like food earlier, and he got like a dessert with it, and he said that just in between games he was just munching on that, and he said something, it was like some sort of thing that you were dipping into chocolate, and he was like, I'm not going to be crazy and dip into the chocolate, and I was thinking about you with the Nutella.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
have
then I
to
was
dip
like-
into the chocolate.
As soon as he said that, I was like, dude, you are 100% going to dip into the chocolate.
Yeah.
And he was like, absolutely.
If not with the donut, then like with your hand, like
Yeah.
a bear taking
Yeah.
honey out
Fingers. Yeah, you're going to
Yeah.
finger fuck it.
of it. All right.
All right. Well, I'm going to be in Boston this weekend.
Yes, that show's definitely going to sell out.
Yeah, I don't really know what the tickets are at. I know that most of them are pretty much sold out. The Thursday show has some tickets left. I'm sure the other ones have some tickets left, but don't wait, because I know I'm going to get a ton of DMs from people that are going to be like, dude, you can't swing 15 more tickets for me and my boys to come through. And no, I can't.
Yeah.
Because I don't control that.
I'll be in New Brunswick, New Jersey at the Stress Factory on March 8th, and then Providence at the Comedy Connection. I think that's April 8th to the 10th or something like that. 9th to the 11th, maybe. I think we're going to probably have to move that Thursday show to Sunday night. I'm sorry about that. There's a work conflict.
What's your conflict?
The mini golf.
That's
Which I
gonna be
came in
classic.
second last year.
Sunday. You know, I came in third the first time we did it.
Did you?
And they
Did
wrote
you
it
not
out of
know
the
that?
history books. I wonder why you didn't know it.
You didn't know this? So we did it the first time we did it in Montauk.
Yes.
And they ship everyone out to Montauk on buses.
Yeah.
And we're there for like 8 hours the whole day. It was like, how many rounds was it? 3 rounds?
Yeah, probably.
3 rounds. So like I don't know how you guys did it last time, but it was like 3 rounds. First round, everyone's in it. Second round, they cut a couple people. Third round, it's just the top dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And round 3, I'm birdieing, if not like hole in oneing, like every single hole.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, in the beginning of that round, I was not even like top 5. And then like halfway through that round, I'm in first place. And I'm like, there's really no one. I think Owen was recording me, or so. I was like, I had like one person recording, and then I'm looking over to everyone else, and they have like 15 cameras on them. And I was like, I feel like no one's really like talking about how I'm in first place right now.
Yeah.
And like they're spiders carrying around the sign with the rankings.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere to be seen on the rankings. It's all people that, and I'm like, I'm
Dave Kirk.
I'm like, hey guys, I'm winning. By the way, just a heads up, like
Jeff Lowe.
I'm winning the game right now. I have 3 holes left. I have a heavy lead right now, and I end up fucking up on the last hole, and I finish, and I'm in first. But I was like, Frankie and PFT, I think, were right behind me, and I was like, they're both gonna end up beating me. So I come in third place, and then they still put it on the board, and they have Kirk in third place. Kirk was like 5 strokes behind me, and the whole time I'm like, are we gonna fix it? Like, I'm talking to Hank. I'm like, are we gonna fix this like for the edit and stuff? Because it was not live. It was like they were gonna make a video out of it. And he was like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And we handed the cards, and then they lost the cards, and then they wrote me down as 9th place.
Damn.
And so I placed 3rd. It was literally, you could compare it to the Brady comeback 28-3. Like I was in like last place going into 3rd round, and I won. Came in 3rd, and they just got rid of my numbers and put me on 9th place.
Yeah,
and
I don't really know.
And then they never invited me back.
I don't really know what you want me to make of that story.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, if you go and win, don't be surprised if they throw Kirk ahead of you.
Well, it's all live now, so there's no fudging.
Yeah, I guess.
Also, everything was to the stroke last time. I won 10 grand for coming in second.
That's cool. I won nothing, and then they said I came in 9th.
Yeah, but did 3rd place get a prize?
No, it kind of reminds me of like when I was on the Yak, and we did I did Most Dangerous Game Show, and I came in 2nd, and like no one ever really talked about it. And then Stephen Che did Surviving Barstool like a year later and came in 2nd, and as a whole, the Yak gave him $15,000 for coming in 2nd.
Wow. Yeah, again,
we had like a slush fund from selling shit on Whatnot. And we gave him the whole slush fund for coming in 2nd.
I think that you want your cake and eat it too sometimes, where you choose as minimal of a participation as possible.
Look,
at
those
this
are
company.
2 things that I've placed top 3 in, and
And
I
then-
haven't been rewarded
And
for.
then when you are sort of marginalized, you're like, hey, wait, what?
Well, I think the truth is, I think I'm a very competitive person.
Fair enough.
And coming in 3rd and then not being shown that you came in 3rd is frustrating, especially as a varsity golfer.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my whole team watching that live. I had the boys from Duxbury watching that shit live, rooting for me, and then they see I'm in 9th. How do you think that makes me feel?
What do you
think that does for my legacy?
Owen, is this true? Is everything he's saying true?
The golf thing is 1,000% true. I finished in 3rd.
So what really screwed you was losing the cards, because otherwise they wouldn't.
I didn't lose the cards.
No, I
They
know.
lost
I'm
the
saying
cards.
that that was the only record that would have exonerated your.
I think they. Yes, I didn't think.
Oh.
I don't think they had enough footage of me playing well, and I don't think they cared enough. I think they thought if I came in top 3, it wouldn't do as well numbers wise as if Kirk came in top 3, which they're probably right. And so they bumped me down to 9th, which it feels a little dramatic. Like I would have been like 4th. I would have been like, okay, that's still annoying, but like 9th is like, oh, this was just a guy who played in the tournament,
Mm-hmm.
not someone who finished top 3.
I think the only thing that matters is if there had been a proper prize for the position that was taken from you.
When is this? I'm gonna go.
You have to qualify.
I will qualify.
But you need to sign up.
I'll find.
I
my
know
way in.
you're getting the emails.
I don't get any emails.
Yes, you do. You just don't look at them.
What's the date? Because I'm gonna get in on this.
I am not the coordinator. I'm not going to even look up the answer to that question for you.
You know the date. You said it was April what?
Oh yeah, I think it's. You're right. I think it's like April 7th and 8th, something like that. April 7th and 8th in Chicago. But you have to qualify. I got an automatic bid
Free as a bird.
for having finished.
Oh, wait,
second.
I'm looking at August 8th for some reason.
All right,
7th and 8th.
something like that. Maybe we fly in the 6th, play
I'm
the
there.
7th, play the 8th.
I'm there. Weekend of Passover too.
You need to qualify for this.
What does qualify mean? I have to try out.
You're gonna have to enter through the round robin thing.
I'm gonna text Hank and I'm gonna say if I'm
Don't
not in
do
this.
that. Check. There's an email that you need to respond to, and you may have missed the deadline.
Look, when you're top G, there is no deadline.
Roan,
Yes, brothers.
did you get the email
I
about
got the email.
participating in the mini golf thing?
I don't think so.
The play-in
You did.
to qualify?
I did.
Jake Bass.
We all
sent it.
got it.
When is it?
Yeah, we all got it. That's what I thought. You were supposed to have responded by a certain time. The window may still be open.
The window was 2 days ago.
There you go.
I did not respond to that either. You're good.
Harry wants to play.
Oh, you want to play?
Content Harry.
Nah, I'm out.
Bro, smoking.
There you go. That's it. He's out. All right, everybody. That's Son of a Boy Dad.
Please
See ya.
come see me on the road. I'm going to be in Boston this weekend, and then I'm going to be in Atlanta the weekend after that.
You guys are still chatting?
Oh yeah, we've been going.
Oh, nice.
Harry's just been complaining about how he was boned out of 3rd place in a fucking mini golf tournament that didn't mean anything.
Francis, you would have written a 5,000 word blog.
Absolutely, because I like to make as much as I possibly can out of very little for the sake
Same.
of my job.
Same. You don't think people are going to cause a ruckus over this?
I think that day has come and gone.
People are going to be saying Team Sass.
Fair
Third place
enough.
got $20,000 that year.
No.
First place got 50, second place got 30, third place got 20,000.
No, I think first place got like $5,000.
So you got cheated out of 20 grand.
Damn. Hate to see it.
Could have been you, brother.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. HarrySetupWebsite.com for everything important.
Oh, yeah. Punchup.live/Francis Ellis. Jesus.
And congrats to Donnie. Donnie had his baby. Yeah, congrats,
And congrats
to
to Donnie.
Congrats to the wonton Don.
Nice.